Who would have thought that our sleepy little town could have brought this many people together on a Thursday evening? We are so excited that you are here. My name is Erica Burge, and I am the president of Community Connecting Us. And if you don't know what that is, we are a nonprofit, 501c3, and we are an asset-based community center, which you are now sitting in. So again, we're really grateful that you're here. And you may be wondering, like, why have this political forum? Well, as an asset-based community center, we run on the passions and skills and talents of our neighbors. They come up with the ideas, they help us run the programs, and that is how we exist. So it only makes sense that when it came to government, that we provide a space for those that are running to come and share their passion, their skills, and their talents. So that's what this evening is about. We also are in the business of trying to be a good neighbor, and we believe that voting is one of the ways that you can be a good neighbor. Because when you learn about the candidates, you learn about the issues that we're facing, then we can make decisions based on what is good for one another. So that is why we are here tonight, and I am super stoked that my friend Bill Barron is the moderator. He has that radio voice that you may have heard at our pirate takeover. So when we knew we were doing this, I was like, Bill, could you do this for us? So anyway, so I'm going to turn this over to Bill, who is going to tell us the rules of engagement for this evening.
Great. Well, thank you, Erica. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's forum featuring the candidates for our upcoming election. My name is Bill Barron, and I'll be your moderator this evening. And tonight we have 6 candidates running for 3 positions. Each candidate will be given the opportunity to answer a set of questions one at a time without the other candidates present. They will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. And after all candidates have been questioned, we will open the floor to the audience for a Q&A session with all of the candidates. We hope that this forum will provide our voters with valuable insight into each candidate's views and experiences, and to help inform them or inform your decision in the upcoming election. So thank you for joining us tonight. Now with that said, let's begin. So here are the rules of engagement. They are as follows. Number 1, each candidate will be interviewed separately and given an equal amount of time to answer each question. Number 2, the forum will be conducted without any other candidates present to prevent any influence or interference in each other's answers. Number 3, to ensure consistency and fairness, every candidate will be allotted 2 minutes to respond to each question. Number 4, candidates are asked to refrain from interrupting the moderator. Number 5, the audience is asked to refrain from interrupting the moderator or the candidates. Number 6, the moderator will ensure that all candidates have an opportunity to respond to each question asked. Number 7, the candidates will not be allowed to use props or visual aids during the forum. Number 8, all questions and topics will be focused on issues relevant to the position being sought and will be asked in a non-biased, non-partisan manner. Number 9, candidates will be required to follow all applicable laws and regulations regarding campaign finance and ethics. Number 10, at the conclusion of the forum, there will be an opportunity for the audience to address the candidates. And number 11, the moderator will have the final say in all matters related to the forum and will ensure that the rules of engagement are followed. So ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the candidate questioning portion of this forum. Each candidate will be questioned one at a time in alphabetical order. Once the first candidate is called up to the seat, the other candidates will be asked to exit to our designated green room. This will ensure that each candidate is given an equal opportunity to answer their questions without any outside influence or distractions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer. So I would like to welcome Robert Klein. Please come up and have a seat. And with the other candidates, please follow Danny to our green room.
Yeah. Casey also.
Oh, Casey, I'm sorry.
Bill, I forgot to mention that here is where the paper is that people can write that for the candidates.
Did everybody hear that? If you have have any questions you want to ask the candidates, we'll take a brief intermission. You can fill them out. And then after the intermission, all the candidates will come back and they will answer your questions, or as many as we have time for. So at this time, the candidates have exited to the green room, and we'll be calling each candidate one by one to answer a set of questions in front of the audience of our voters. And thank you for your cooperation. Remember, you'll have 2 minutes to answer each question. Are you ready to begin?
I am. Good evening.
Very good. Good evening. So here are the candidate questions. Please introduce yourself to the audience, number 1. Share your name, professional background, which position you're running for, and why you believe you're the best candidate for the position. You have 2 minutes. The timer is in back.
I was wondering where it was. Thank you. My name's Robert Klein. My fiance is sitting in the front row, Robin Zink. We live at 73 North Main Street, down the street to the right. I am a lawyer by trade. I graduated from Western Maryland, then went to Delaware for a master's in education. I was a teacher for 3 years, and then went to Baltimore Law School and practiced from there. I do criminal defense presently, and I'm running for mayor. I'm running for mayor. I purchased the house at 73 in 2012. It moved in, I believe, in 2017 or 2018. I've had numerous dealings with the town through the facade grant, through changes and renovations to the house, through painting, roofing, what have you. I recently purchased 75 North Main right next door, and am renovating that presently. I believe I'm the best candidate for the job because I'm going through the budget for my practice doing Chapter 11 bankruptcy work, as well as representing asset-based lenders and people who are buying and selling businesses. I'm familiar with balance sheets. While I respect the council that the town's hired, I believe I can help him I'm paying attention, thank you. I can help him in determining where best to go to the town and the legal issues that face the town. I would like to do something for the town and give back, having moved in approximately 6 years ago, and believe that the background in the law, as well as leadership in operation managers and hiring and having an office of up to 9 staff members at one point, which is greater than what the town has now. And those would be the reasons why I'm running, what I'm running for, and who I am.
Very good. Thank you. Question number 2. Given that law enforcement operation cost was $250,000 in 2012, how would you propose to address public safety concerns while operating within a limited budget and without the ability to meet regulatory and infrastructure requirements necessary to hire law enforcement?
Law enforcement is presently under a fixed contract that the town negotiates with. I believe that the town has recently, or the chief of police, Ms. Smith, has left or has taken a part-time position. As far as how the town can go with public safety, there are a number of ideas that I have. For example, the crosswalk closer, I want to say, to 10 North Main, where the people walk across to the apartments. There's no reason why that should not have blinking lights, for example, which would cost a nominal amount of money. That happens in small towns. For a crosswalk, you hit a button, it blinks. I'm not a fan of the speed cameras that are on either end of the town. They do nothing to retard speeding. It just tells you how fast you're going. That's wonderful. I'm already aware you have to go 25 through town. As far as keeping public safety and contracting with, I believe it's Cecil County, it's not in the budget. There's 6 employees in the budget, and those 6 employees have gotten 2 5% raises each year according to the 2022 and 2023 budget, while the town's revenue has only increased by 2.2 and 2.7% over the last 2 years during the same amount of time. The town only brings in approximately $650,000 a year. The revenue has to go up because there is no revenue to the town, with the exception of county taxes and an $1,800 lease to the state representative or Warnberger, who's on the 2nd floor. More revenue, we pay for someone on site, change the contract terms, put in blinking lights, and I would suggest perhaps a third-party vendor to supply a speeding camera that actually would generate revenue for the town through speeding tickets.
Thank you. Number 3, what is your plan to address cyclic tax properties and abandoned buildings within the town? And how would you work to prevent these issues from occurring in the future while also remediating existing properties that have become abandoned or tax cyclic? You have 2 minutes.
Until the town, having lived here, I've seen very little progress in the buildings that are left or been abandoned. The town for the last, I believe it's 5 years according to the minutes, has been fighting over 41 North Main, 88 through 94 North Main, and 220 North Main to no avail. I can tell you that I've spoken to the Historic Commission about purchasing 41 North Main to no avail. The code enforcement has no teeth. Susan Smith said it, her predecessor said it, and it hasn't changed. If we were in a different town, in a different community, and I'm not looking to impose violations on everyone, but for example, when you transfer property in court deposit, you have to go to the town hall and get a waiver before you go, and I'm sure everybody's aware of this, before you go to Cecil County and file your land records. That's Cecil County. For example, in Haverty Grace, the town will hold up a transfer if there's an open permit or an open fine. You cannot transfer that property. My opinion is until you get a hand or working hand in hand between the Historic Commission, Historic Area Committee, HAC, if you will, and the Historic Corporation run through the Paul to go with developers to take over the property and renovate them either, I would prefer single family. But if you raise the water by getting rid of the dilapidated and the vacant housing, then the property becomes more valuable for everybody. Right now, there's a lot of renters, but if the property becomes more valuable, the renters will leave as the people will want to turn it into single family and realize the proceeds or realize the gain in their property values. And that will also add the tax base if the property values go up by getting rid of the homes that are in the cyclical tax sale. Excuse me.
Very good. Number 4, what is your plan to address concerns over speeding vehicles and prohibited tractor trailers on state-owned roads within the town? And how would you work with state authorities to implement your strategies and improve road safety for our residents?
If you go back to 2017 in the minutes, it was talked about the tractor trailers coming through town, was talked to precisely, and in the 2017 minutes, the town was able to cite 8 different tractor trailers for coming through. That's in the minutes. As I indicated earlier, you can get a third-party vendor similar to what they do in Baltimore City that might put in, for example, the speeding cameras on either end of town. They would photograph the speeders, would handle the bill tag, and receive not only a percentage on the payment through a credit card, but also a percentage of the payment of the fine for the service fee. The tractor trailer, since 2017, there's been no mention in the minutes. I have not been on council. I've been sitting watching the problem since I moved in 2012. There's a lot of, this came up in 2017 or 2018 regarding the 8 tractor trailers, and if I'm off, but it's a while ago. The town comes up with ideas, the council comes up with some good ideas, and that's part of the leadership issue where someone has to take the good ideas that the town comes up with, the different council members come up with, and steward them, marshal them through and decide which ones are good, which ones are bad, throw out the ones that are bad. But in this case, the speeding cameras can be resolved, I believe, through a contract with a third-party vendor. Tractor trailers would go hand in hand with the prior comment as to hiring additional police force. Perhaps it's worthwhile on a weekend when I think the most trucks go through. We can certainly ask residents. There's a wealth of information among those that are here. You're all interested. I'm working during the day. I come home at 6, 7 o'clock at night. The residents know when the tractor trailers come through. A simple meeting of when they come through, we can hire one person for that day to be there on the day we project that there's the most amount of traffic to reap the most amount of citations. Not to be mean, but
Thank you.
collect money.
Thank you. Question number 5. What is your plan to attract more businesses into our town, considering the current lack of designated parking and available commercially zoned space for purchase or rental?
Excuse me. For those that got my mailer, I put in there more community activities. Businesses don't want to move, my opinion is, businesses don't want to move into town if there's not enough people here that are interested in going into the businesses. So for example, if you take, and tied into the other question, if you take 88 through 94 and the town were to reclaim that, or the town were to talk to Cecil County regarding the public library and turn that into a business of some nature, and the homes, and there were more community activities for the people to come into town, I suggested different citizens could take and decorate the light poles as we did on Pirates Cove, which I was able to decorate one of the light posts. You could also decorate for Christmas. It just doesn't have to be a tree trim. Why can the town not, people volunteer, there's a lot of energy in the town. It wouldn't take that much to wrap a light pole with some garland during Christmas. And I understand the mayor has a $2,000 discretionary fund. There could be a mayor's ball to celebrate those that pitch in and do stuff for the town at one of the local businesses. But for the people to come to town, there has to be something here, and there can't be any. The town is, in my opinion, the town is stuck. And if you go up through past the new warehouses, it says historic past, transformative future, and that's Port Deposit. Has an historic past, but where's the future? And I don't mean to sound negative, but I'm 63, and I've been here 10, 11 years. When's it transforming? It's not transforming with the 2 lights on either end of town telling how far we go. It's not transforming with the 1 tree that goes up. The Pirates Cove is a good example, which I was able to contribute to the mermaid tank, where the town can get involved. We need more of a minor league baseball atmosphere on weekends.
Time's up. Very good. Question number 6. How would you approach enhancing Marina Park, which is one of the town's best assets, considering it offers such amenities as waterfront view, fishing, a boat launch, and a pier, to make it even more attractive to residents and visitors, while also preserving its natural beauty and promoting environmental stewardship and other sustainability efforts?
Could you just repeat the first
Sure.
sentence? Just the first sentence.
How would you approach enhancing Marina Park,
Okay.
which is one of the town's best assets, considering it offers such amenities as a waterfront view, fishing, anything else?
No, I just didn't hear.
No, sorry about that.
Sorry. This goes to also to income that could come into the town on revenue. In other towns, including Baltimore City, where I lived for a number of years, they have engraved bricks. Bricks could go in around Marina Park in different areas that would generate revenue and support and help out or remember a loved one that has passed. Marina Park, at the same time, if it had community activities on weekends, for example, food trucks that could come in, 4 to 5 food trucks. I saw recently one person asked for a permit to come in for a food truck, and it was delayed a number of months in the minutes. Why not have a food truck every month on a certain weekend, second weekend of every month, allow food trucks to come in, supply their documentation. I'm not saying they shouldn't be food quality certified by the state. Allow them to come in without a permit and create a certain atmosphere where there's a buzz that there's going to be a number of food trucks in the marina. The kids could come out and play. You could have, for example, you could add you don't want to get in the way, it's a limited area, but there could be a frisbee golf hole, I suppose. I'm not a big frisbee golf person, but it could be there. The other thing is that I understand that parking and the boat dock isn't being taken care of either, which is also an issue. In other words, payments are being made all the time for the different boaters that are docking, although we're tied to $10 per daily boat docking fee. But that should also be looked into, and that goes hand in hand with the violations, goes hand in hand with the person that's watching the tractor trailers go through town.
Okay, thank you. And question number 7, our final question. What experience and skills do you possess that would help you navigate the complex decisions necessary to move forward with the multi-million-dollar development project at Bainbridge that will bring new revenue to the town over the course of 10 years, while also taking into consideration the concerns of the constituents, the town's history, and the environment?
Town's at a crossroads, not only with the Bainbridge, but with the Great Wolf Lodge going in, as well as the strip shopping center going in, as far as advertising activities and the like. What I bring is, I've done zoning issues. I've handled big transactions working for Saul Ewing when I came out of law school, or Weinberg and Green if you're old enough. I know how to read a balance sheet. I know what a P&L looks like. The town has in the past paid people that aren't licensed, someone that understands what the real estate deeds look like and the terminologies and the setbacks without constantly calling counsel on the phone, although Sims is fine. I came out of law school in '87. I don't know that there's anybody else that's running that has a law degree. I practice every day, I litigate every day, and to the extent it comes up and to the extent you don't know, for full disclosure, I've sued the town and won. The town, the state, the county, on zoning and real estate issues. I'm not happy about it, but I bring a unique set of circumstances I don't think the other candidate, Mr. Tone, brings to the table, besides his historical tie to the town, which I'm not discounting. It's important. He served on the council. I think he's done a fine job. He seems like a fine person, but he doesn't have a professional background to deal with 200 acres of how many acres is up there on the top of the 4 warehouses are going in, as well as Great Wolf Lodge, as well as the strip shopping center, and how to get those people from there to here through a chamber of commerce or
Thank you. That's the time. Ladies and gentlemen. Our next mayoral candidate is Wayne Tone Jr. Please welcome Wayne Tone Jr. Please have a seat. So now it's time for the questions. Question number 1. Please introduce yourself to the audience. Share your name, professional background, which position you're running for, and why you believe you're the best candidate for the position.
My name is Wayne Tone Jr. I work for Baltimore County Fire Department. I'm running for mayor. I think I'm the best candidate for this position because I've lived here my whole life. I'm passionate about this town. I'm staying here. I want to make it a better place for my family. I want to see improvements of this town. For years and years, this town has shied away from some places in this town, and I would love to see this become a whole town, not just worry about one side of this town. I served 2 years on the council already this year. I would like to keep my foot on the ground and support this town where it needs to be supported.
Okay, thank you. So question number 2. Given that law enforcement operations cost was $250,000 in 2012, how would you propose to address public safety concerns while operating within a limited budget and without the ability to meet regulatory and infrastructure requirements necessary to hire law enforcement?
Okay, that's a good question. My 2 years on the council, we're actually going through that right now at this time. What I would do is would like to get a third party into our town to see what fits our needs. See with Bainbridge being developed with warehouses, we're going to have lots of more come into our town, and have that third-party analysis, see what we need to have the resources for our town to be safe. And work a budget out for that.
Thank you. Question number 3. What is your plan to address cyclic tax properties and abandoned buildings within the town? And how would you work to prevent these issues from occurring in the future while also remediating existing properties that have become abandoned or tax cyclic?
Good question. We actually, this year we met with the county to address that issue. We're working hard with some of the vacant dwellings to work with the county to try to get some of the taxes waived so we can do something with their residents and try to demolish some of these buildings because they're very dangerous to our people walking down the street. They're an eyesore. For instance, like I said, I was a firefighter. It's very, very unsafe for us to go in there and fight fire, to try to help somebody that's trapped in there and get into there. It's very dangerous. What I would do is like to see a program come to Port Plaza, kind of like the city does, where you can buy one of these buildings for a number of dollars, and you have to fix up the dwelling and live there for a certain amount of time.
Question number 4. What is your plan to address concerns over speeding vehicles and prohibited tractor trailers on state-owned roads within the town? And how would you work with state authorities to implement your strategies and improve road safety for the residents?
Question. So over the last 2 years, we incorporated the 2 signs at each end of the town for a radar sign. We have looked into getting. Some people asked about speed cameras. We are a state highway, so we don't have a school in our area, so we cannot get a speed camera. I would strongly work with our MTA cops that have provided us in the past to come down to Port Deposit and stop the truckers. I would like to get that relationship back to where it was when they were coming down. There were some misunderstandings and some other things happened that stopped them from coming down here. I would like to get that brought back up. I'd like to see more of them not just being at South Main Street, more of them being towards the north end because that's where they're coming off the flats a lot faster coming through town. And also, more police down that way when they're speeding up around the corner and coming to the basketball courts where our children play.
Thank you. Question number 5. What is your plan to attract more businesses into our town, considering the current lack of designated parking and available commercially zoned space for purchase or rental?
Good question. My vision for that is to work with the county, with Bainbridge, to where the naval base is, to possibly make more businesses up there so we can have my vision would be to have it like a small vintage town up there, that we can have events up there and more businesses, like you can walk up the steps and go back up and enjoy your time up there. Like music, we play music up there. And we're also...
Okay, thank you. Question number 6. How would you approach enhancing Marina Park, which is one of the town's best assets, considering it offers such amenities as waterfront view, fishing, a boat launch and pier, to make it even more attractive to the residents and visitors, while also preserving its natural beauty and promoting environmental stewardship and other sustainability efforts?
I would like to work with DNR to try to fix up some of the piers. So one pier is falling into the water at this time. I was just down there talking to guys working down there, trying to get that fixed. Maybe find some grant money to get that back up and fixed because people are walking and pretty much falling into the water. It's unsafe. Also, maybe move the boat ramp down to the south end of the park so boats can turn around easily, park their vehicles there and exit the vehicle, whether to fix up some of the boat ramps that we had available for other people. So it'll be a speedier process. I know that line can get very, very long. Maybe some people get agitated, that they're waiting hours and hours for their boat to get out and so on. But if we create those boat ramps, people can get in and out easier. Less of the market and maybe campsites. Also, I've seen a lot of people are burning just random materials down there. That's going to start a fire. What I would like to see is maybe a fire ring down there so they can have the wood in there so when people are driving down there, they're not running over screws, bolts, anything that came from the plywood that they've been burning.
Okay, thank you. Number 7, what experience and skills do you possess that would help you navigate the complex decisions necessary to move forward with the multi-million-dollar development project at Bainbridge that will bring new revenue to the town over the course of the next 10 years, while also taking into consideration the concerns of the constituents, the town's history, and the environment?
My skills are honestly public safety. That's my passion. With fire suppression, medical, and all that. Making sure that
That is our last question. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen. Right, now we'll be moving on to our council candidates. Our first council candidate will be Kevin Brown. So once again, I'll remind everyone, if you want to ask questions of the candidates, we've got some notepads or note cards and pens up there. You can ask the questions, write them down, and then after intermission, you'll have the opportunity to ask those questions to our candidates. You see the door open, so Kevin must be coming through now. Here he comes, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Brown. Hi, please have a seat. So now it's time for our questions.
Okay, can I say something first real quick?
Let me ask the question.
Okay.
To be fair. So, question number 1.
Yes.
Please introduce yourself to the audience. Share your name, professional background,
Okay.
which position you're running for, and why you believe you're the best candidate for that position.
Well, my name is Kevin Brown. Did you get that right? Okay. What was the next part?
Professional background?
Professional background. Okay. Mine is twofold. I started out of college in law enforcement for 7.5 years, in both state, and local, and federal. U.S. Secret Service, the back end of my career, and I had a bad injury, and it caused me to have a change of of career. So I went into the employee benefits field, and I started an employee benefits business that went really well. It's employee benefits planning, outsourcing, and it was very successful. We ended up at our peak having about 40 employees, about 11 million of revenue, which is a lot to govern, so to speak, and learned a lot in that process. Ended up selling it in 2014, and in 2017 I retired from that industry. But as I said, when you run a business of that magnitude, you realize a few things. One, you certainly don't do it yourself, and most of the success that you have is attributable to others. And that means there comes a time in your life where you need to give back. And so you move from one focus in your life of what I would call success to significance. So what's happened in this last portion of my life, that's since about 2017, is what governance is something that's learned. Good governance is something that's learned. And so what happened is that I ended up being asked to be on several different boards, boards of directors. And as a result of that, you know, you're able to share many of the things that you
Thank you.
learned.
That is your time.
Okay.
So question number 2. Given that law enforcement operation cost was $250,000 in 2012, how would you propose to address public safety concerns while operating within a limited budget and without the ability to meet regulatory and infrastructure requirements necessary to hire law enforcement? You have 2 minutes, time's in back.
Well, it wasn't 250,000, it was 298,000.
Okay?
You know, as much as I am pro-police and safety and law enforcement, this town, in the same year that it had in 2012, there was a budget of 571 of revenue against 813 of expenses, 813,000 of expenses. 298,000 of that was for a police department of 3 people. It was before my time, but sitting back, somebody who had a chance to observe as an outsider initially, and I know there's people in this room, good, well-intentioned people, because there was a contentious history over this, that I think it was fiscally one of the best decisions the town made. There's no way that you could have been pointed in the right direction. The last 10 years have been very fiscally sound from a running perspective, budgetarily, and I can speak a whole lot more on that, but just getting right to the point. The way I think it's best to approach it is we've already had some experiences with this. We've had some victories and some defeats in it. There are several different resources that we can bring to bear outside of the town through MOUs and so forth to round out our needs for police. But the first thing that we need to do, we've already opened up doing this, all right? I met with Vicki just not that long ago in December, and we've established an RFP. We're going to go out and we're going to establish a 5-year plan, because the revenue growth is going to be significant in this town over the next 5 years. It's significant. And I can give you the exact details on it maybe in another question, but there will be money to do things. We're going to do the right things. We don't just want to plug a police department back in, but there's an important part of it would be getting a person that could actually manage the process of bringing all these resources together through MOUs.
Thank you.
So,
That's your time.
yeah.
Question number 3. What is your plan to address cyclic tax properties and abandoned buildings within the town? And how will you work to prevent these issues from occurring in the future while also remediating existing properties that have become abandoned or cyclical taxed?
Yeah, well, the biggest part is getting the county on board, frankly. We had a meeting about a month ago with the county. Probably the most encouraging one we've had in a while. I wasn't specifically in that meeting, but had the download from it. This is all tied to the development that we need to do, the revitalization of Main Street and the town overall. But Main Street, the only way we're going to get to grow is if we have a situation where it's a good place to live. I mean, it's already a good place to live, but how do others get attracted to it? We need to change this blight issue. The town has, of the 34 properties that are in the county that are owned by the county because nobody at tax sale bought them, there's 16 of them that are in our town. Okay, so what we're doing with the county right now is we are negotiating with them to mitigate the taxes on those properties so they just don't run back into tax sale. Number one. Number two, we said that what if we pay the enterprise fund items like water and sewer, negotiate with them to pay those if they can mitigate the overall taxes for us. Because that's the only way we're going to get a developer to come in, or a builder to come in, is if we can, I don't know if we necessarily want the town to be in the real estate business, but if it takes that, we will do it. The other portion is with revenue that's going to be coming from up the hill, we'll be in the next budget cycle setting aside money for demolitions. Because if we partner with the county, where they actually will call the condemning, and we have money for the demolitions. We've got a targeted list of 6 properties right off the bat that we know we want to go after. And I'd love to talk more with all of you that live on Main Street about what those properties are, and you know, maybe some additional things we're in the middle of doing.
Okay, thank you. Question number 4. What is your plan to address concerns over speeding vehicles and prohibited tractor trailers on state-owned roads within the town? And how would you work with the state authorities to implement your strategies and improve road safety for residents?
Okay. So we have an amazing resource right at the Hill, the Maryland Transportation Police. They do truck enforcement arguably better than anybody else. The state police might argue with that, but we now have an MOU in place with them. Okay, it got a little shaky for a while, but it's now back in place. We had targeted enforcement with them and with the state police over the last like 3 years. Not so much in the past 5 to 6 months, but that question's asked because it's important to people. But what I've been hearing, and maybe you have a different opinion, is that the truck issue is still an issue, but we don't have anywhere near as big of a problem as we used to have. I mean, it was bad 3 years ago. But the MOU process, having somebody manage that process, we got to get tighter on that. But there's only so many hours a day for somebody like me who's volunteering. We're going to have to bring somebody on, the right person, on to actually manage that process. So I don't know if that's anything else I can say about that, but it's important. It's probably one of the most talked about issues. Bob Coos, the mayor, it's like drives him nuts. Part of this, I'll say this, we've had the Cecil County policing, and I can talk about the numbers on that, hopefully afterwards, because there's not enough time to do now. In theory, it makes a lot of sense, but unless we're actively managing those relationships and have somebody that's maybe doing it on a full-time basis, we're not going to get the effectiveness out of it that I think people had originally hoped we would 10 years ago. So that's the bottom line. There's still staffing we need to do, but we have to have the money in to do it.
Okay,
we're close.
Question number 5. What is your plan to attract more businesses into our town, considering the current lack of designated parking and available commercially zoned space for purchase or rental? You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Man, I'll tell you, the way I see it is what comes first is revitalizing Main Street, okay? And you do that by expanding the grant program, our facade grant program. You do that by continuing down the road of our flood mitigation plan. A whole lot more, I'd like you to ask me about that later, okay? Because developers tell us, we're not gonna build anything in here until you have a flood mitigation plan. Now, we've already done some engineering studying on whether or not, for example, the berm can officially be used as a levee, okay? And then you do inflatable gates in each of the other underpasses. Once that gets done, then we start to get into the category of, what was the last one? Getting off on a little tangent here. What was the question one more time?
What's your plan to attract businesses?
Businesses, okay. So, in order to get businesses, we've got to revitalize Main Street, and that means the facade grant, expanding that program. That means doing things to encourage homeownership instead of rentals on Main Street, which is another hard thing to do. But there are some things we've already discussed in our revitalization committee and so forth to do that. There's things we can do. But I think unless we get Main Street up, okay, with all the revitalization issues, businesses aren't going to come, okay? And by the way, we're off a main beaten path. And my interpretation, I've been a businessman, okay? Most of the businesses that we have here, other than restaurants, they're tough to sustain. You know, they're somebody who maybe had a passion for something, and it's almost like a glorified hobby. Anybody that's been through this, they know they have a passion for something. They open a business. It's going to be tough to do anything past that in restaurants unless we have revitalization of Main Street.
Thank you.
And people
Your
are
time's
willing to
up.
buy the stuff that people are selling.
Okay, question number 6. How would you approach enhancing Marina Park, which is one of our town's best assets, considering it offers such amenities as a waterfront view, fishing, a boat launch, and pier, to make it even more attractive to residents and visitors, while also preserving its natural beauty and promoting environmental stewardship and other sustainability efforts?
Yeah. Well, part when I was writing down, okay, what's your platform? Most of it's based on things we're already doing or somewhere along the line that you guys don't know about. Because frankly, nobody comes to meetings, all right? So I'll say this, we have a waterfront plan that we're putting together, it's part of our master plan, okay? We've been talking about it a long time. We need about 50 or 60 grand to actually finish the studies, but that's going to be budgeted in next year. What that looks like to me is an area with improving the launch capabilities down there, first of all, and also encouraging a business or two to open up that might do rentals of boats and canoes and that sort of thing. So setting a nice little zone, if you will, a little enterprise zone for businesses, so that it be as kiosks to try to grow it out. And make it a venue maybe for concerts and things like that. But there will be, within the next year for sure, a waterfront plan for Marina Park. We've designated the money for it.
Thank you. And this is the last question, question number 7. What experience and skills do you possess that would help you navigate the complex decisions necessary to move forward with a multi-million-dollar development project at Bainbridge that will bring new revenue to the town over the course of the next 10 years, while also taking into consideration the concerns of our constituents, the town's history, and the environment?
2 minutes? Come on.
2 minutes.
Don't start that. Okay. Okay, let me start with this. How many of you know how much money is expected to start to come in from Main Street? It's okay if you don't. Okay, you do. Listen, when the certificates of occupancy get on those 2 buildings that are being built right up there now, and they represent about, they're not even a third of the total square footage that's going in. And even after enterprise zone discounts that the government forces us to give somebody coming in on tax revenue, we're going to see an 80% increase in the first year on just those 2 buildings alone of our tax revenue. What I'm concerned about is who's in charge and who's running it, okay, when all that money comes in. Because there's a history in this town, not to knock anybody that's been living here a long time, but you've lived through it, of some significantly bad, what I would call, governance of tax dollars. There just has been. I think it's gotten much better from talking to people over the last couple of years, or the last maybe 10 years. But that's just the truth. You got to know it. And I don't know how else to say it. What do I bring to that? I've run a business that's 25 times the size of the budget of this town. And already I know that some of the things, I didn't think this would be true, but already some of the things that I did on a daily basis that you just learn, when you're running a business, you learn. I've already been over it. I didn't think I would. Things that are not really of interest to me, like personnel decisions and things like that. But you learn a lot. So I think I can confidently say that that I've been prepared to do this sort of thing, and I think that's why the town asked me to fill an open seat several years ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Kevin.
Slow start.
Our next our next council candidate is Gwendolyn Campbell. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gwendolyn Campbell. Please have a seat. Your timer's in back, and now it's time for the questions. So please introduce yourself to the audience, share your name, professional background, which position you're running for, and why you believe you're the best candidate for that position.
All of that in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Gwendolyn Campbell. I currently reside in Fort Deposit. I own Gwendolyn's Marigold Manor, so I'm a business owner. What was the next thing?
Professional background and which position you're running for, and why
Okay.
you believe you're the best candidate.
Town council. My professional background is I was in outside sales for 25 years. I've been a business owner for 10 years. Some of those local, you guys know I owned a couple of gift shops, most of you. One of the reasons why I think I'm the best candidate is because my love for the town, my love for the people. I'm friendly, I'm outgoing, I can make professional decisions, non-biased decisions, and they would be based on the actual, what would be best for the town. I believe the town needs some changes, and hopefully we can make that happen.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2. Given that law enforcement operation costs were $250,000 in 2012, how would you propose to address public safety concerns while operating within a limited budget and without the ability to meet regulatory and infrastructure requirements necessary to hire law enforcement?
That's a difficult answer because we need it, but we know we don't have the funds for it. So I don't know. A couple of things that I would suggest is like a neighborhood watch program. I know we have a drug issue down at Marina Park. I know there's electricity down there. Maybe we can get some more cameras down there and forward those over to Cecil County and see if they would help us. I know that they come through on a regular basis, but maybe we could get them to come by a little more.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3. What is your plan to address cyclic tax properties and abandoned buildings within the town? And how would you work to prevent these issues from occurring in the future while also remediating existing properties that have become abandoned or tax cyclic?
I think the number one issue are the abandoned ones that are here now. I've been here 8 years. I haven't seen too many that are being abandoned now. I think most of them are from the past. And I believe that that has also something to do with the county and taxes. But I would make every effort that I could, working with the other town council members, to clean those properties up and make them a flat lot. It's feasible within our budget.
Okay, thank you. Question number 4. What is your plan to address concerns over speeding vehicles and prohibited tractor trailers on state-owned roads within the town? And how would you work with state authorities to implement your strategies to improve road safety for the residents?
I think that's a concern that's been going on for years. Again, Cecil County comes down and they ticket the truck drivers, but the UPS and maps are telling them to come through here. And I don't know that there is a way to completely stop it from ever happening because you're gonna have them come down. The speeding issue is more my concern. We have kids walking the neighborhood on our main streets, and I'm sorry, most of them I think are locals. They speed tremendously. And I know we just put up speed warnings and telling them how fast they're going, but I'm not quite sure that's really working. So maybe more cameras again, and actually putting the type of cameras in that gets their license plates and gives them a ticket.
Okay, thank you. Question number 5. What is your plan to attract more businesses into our town, considering the current lack of designated parking and available commercially zoned space for purchase or rental?
This is my favorite question because I am all for, and most of you know, with the gift shops, our Main Street is lacking Main Street. We don't really have, if you want to go out to eat or have a drink, you're covered. But we need more shops, more little businesses, ice cream. What little, waterfront town doesn't have an ice cream shop? But the major thing with that is parking. And I have a couple of ideas about parking, but I don't know until I get in and find out what we can legally do and legally not do. But parking is one of the things that is holding us back there, along with using and revitalizing Marine Park for festivals and so forth.
Thank you. Question number 6. How would you approach enhancing Marina Park, which is one of the town's best assets, considering it offers such amenities as waterfront view, fishing, a boat launch and pier, to make it even more attractive to residents and visitors, while also preserving its natural beauty and promoting environmental stewardship and other sustainability efforts?
The only thing I can say about that is I was on the town's committee, and we've already redesigned and came up with everything for the park. Back then, I was told we had funding to start it, and 4 years later, it still has not been done. So that's what I would look into, being on the committee and knowing what we already planned out. I'd like to know what happens next.
Okay, thank you. And your final question, question number 7. What experience and skills do you possess that would help you navigate the complex decisions necessary to move forward with a multi-million-dollar project at Bainbridge that will bring in new revenue to the town over the course of 10 years, while also taking into consideration the concerns of the constituents, the town's history, and the environment?
That's a lot rolled into one. I mean, the skills that I have are a business background, so I think that I can make great business decisions. I want to keep the town as historic as it can be within reason. And you mentioned the very long questions. What else?
It's going to bring revenue to the town over the course of 10 years,
Yes.
while also taking into consideration concerns of constituents, the town history, and the environment.
Right. Well, I'm concerned about the environment and the building that's going on. There's nothing that I can do to say right now what I can do about it until we find out what it's going to do to us, our little town. As far as the business end, I love the fact that there's going to be more jobs and things for our locals.
Okay? Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Gwendolyn Campbell. Our next council candidate will be Daniel Gercio, excuse me. And he's coming in just one moment. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Daniel Gercio. Please have a seat. Daniel, your timer is in back, and we'll start with question number 1. Question number 1, please introduce yourself to the audience, share your name, professional background, which position you're running for, and why you're the best candidate for that position.
Hi everybody, my name is Daniel Anthony Gercio Sr. I live down here in 136 North Main Street. Right now I'm a stay-at-home dad and I'm running a small t-shirt business out of my house. And anything else like that?
Which position are you running?
Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm running for town council.
And finally, why do you believe you're the best candidate for that position?
Oh, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like the best candidate. I would just think that I'm the right candidate to represent Main Street because I'm right here on the ground and I'm a person of the people.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Question number 2. Given that law enforcement operations cost was $250,000 in 2012, how would you propose to address public safety concerns while operating within a limited budget and without the ability to meet regulatory and infrastructure requirements necessary to hire law enforcement?
oh, can you repeat that? I'm so sorry.
Sure. Given that law enforcement operation costs were $250,000 in 2012, how would you propose to address public safety concerns while operating within a limited budget and without the ability to meet regulatory and infrastructure requirements necessary to hire law enforcement?
Well, I think everybody in the town really needs to play their part. I think everybody needs to obey the speed limits, watch out for each other, and get the community more involved.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3. What is your plan to address civic tax properties and abandoned buildings within the town? And how would you work to prevent these issues from occurring in the future while also remediating existing properties that have become abandoned or tax cyclic?
Well, I really think everybody needs to take responsibility for their properties out here. If the properties are abandoned, then we need to take care of that, because some of these houses just look like a mess down here. It's a beautiful town, and I think it deserves better, so.
Thank you. Question number 4. What is your plan to address concerns over speeding vehicles and prohibited tractor trailers on state-owned roads within the town? And how would you work with state authorities to implement your strategies and improve road safety for residents?
Well, I understand that ticketing the drivers, the money wouldn't benefit the town, but I still believe they should put up speed cameras. I think they need to put out the word that this is not a town, it shouldn't be used as a drag strip, and that the speed limit should be obeyed.
Thank you. Question number 5. What is your plan to attract more businesses into the town, considering the current lack of designated parking and available commercially zoned space for purchase or rental?
I mean, it's a touchy thing. There isn't a lot of parking down here. I'm not exactly sure how to fix that problem. I would just have to work with the town and the people at Town Hall and see if we can come up with a solution.
Thank you. Question number 6. How would you approach enhancing Marina Park, which is one of the town's best assets, considering it offers such amenities as waterfront view, fishing, a boat launch and pier, to make it even more attractive to residents and visitors, while also preserving its natural beauty and promoting environmental stewardship and other sustainability efforts?
Well, it is a beautiful park, and you know, a lot of people go there to fish. If you go down there, there's a ton of out-of-state plates, and I know other marina parks will charge extra for out-of-state residents. So say we charge $50 for the yearly pass. For an out-of-state resident, we would charge them $60. So that would generate some new revenue, and then we could use it to fix things up down there.
Thank you. Question number 7, this is your last question. What experience and skills do you possess that would help you navigate the complex decisions necessary to move forward with the multi-million-dollar development project at Bainbridge that will bring new revenue to the town over the course of 10 years, while also taking into consideration the concerns of the constituents, the town's history, and the environment?
Well, I know there's been a lot of talk about the Bainbridge project, a lot of mixed feelings about it. I know the traffic issue has come up. I think we just got to work together as a town and let people know that, you know, we are a nice community here and we don't appreciate any outside nonsense. And if you're here, show respect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Cecil. And now our final council candidate, please welcome Randa Teely. She's still coming over. Give her 1 minute. After Randy goes, we'll have a slight intermission. There's refreshments for everyone. And certainly if you have questions, please fill out a card, a note card, and we will ask those questions. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Randa Teely. Your timer is in the back, and we'll start with question number 1. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Very good. So please introduce yourself to the audience, share your name, professional background, which position you're running for, and why you believe you're the best candidate for the position.
My name is Mindy Keeling. I was in a hospital supply distribution center for 32 years. I've recently changed careers, and I work in the hospitals in implementing a new inventory system in the stock rooms. And so I've been in town for 29 years. I have a long list of volunteerism, pretty much anything that anybody's asked me to do, I've been there. I was on planning commission for several years, election committee. This will be our 17th year for the Lower South Spinal Rockfish Tournament. What else I got?
Why are you the best candidate for the position?
Just because I love the town, and I think my volunteerism and just wanting everything to be good with the town.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2. Given that law enforcement operations costs were $250,000 in 2012, how would you propose to address public safety concerns while operating within a limited budget and without the ability to meet regulatory and infrastructure requirements necessary to hire law enforcement?
I think we have to rely on the sheriff's department and just make sure we kind of hold them accountable for their time that they should be here.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3. What is your plan to address cyclic tax properties and abandoned buildings within the town? And how would you work to prevent these issues from occurring in the future while also remediating existing properties that have become abandoned or tax cyclic?
That's one of the things that I have in my heart of cleaning up the town, and the process that they're going through right now on the council of getting these properties, I guess, through the county and getting them cleaned up. And there's also a couple developers that want to help out with that.
Okay, thank you. Question number 4. What is your plan to address concerns over speeding vehicles and prohibited tractor trailers on state-owned roads within the town? And how would you work with state authorities to implement your strategies and improve road safety for the residents?
Well, I believe that at one time the DOT was coming down into town, and I think they need to start coming into town more often, and I think the town needs to work with them in public safety of getting them into town more often.
Thank you. Question number 5. What is your plan to attract more businesses into our town, considering the current lack of designated parking and available commercially zoned space for purchase or rental?
A lot of the properties in town that are in the business district, I believe that the rental is pretty high, and so we have such a small town, and the tourism, unless you're going to a restaurant, we gotta figure out some way of getting them out into that for, people to be able to afford to have a business.
Thank you. Question number 6. How would you approach enhancing Marina Park, which is one of our town's best assets, considering it offers such amenities as waterfront view, fishing, a boat launch and pier, to make it even more attractive to residents and visitors, while also preserving its natural beauty and promoting environmental stewardship and other sustainability efforts?
I think the park right now, I was on a planning thing with that, and we were trying to figure out how to organize the park down there, and basically with the railroad tracks the way they are, you can only have that one entrance and exit there, so it's kind of difficult to try to make that more, I can't think of the word, like friendlier towards growth down there. I think the growth for parks is going to be up the other end in the quarry.
Okay, thank you. And your final question, question number 7. What experience and skills do you possess that would help you navigate the complex decisions necessary to move forward with the multi-million-dollar development project at Bainbridge that will bring new revenue to the town over the course of 10 years, while also taking into consideration the concerns of the constituents, the town's history, and the environment? Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
So what experience and skills do you possess that would help you navigate the complex decisions necessary to move forward with the multi-million-dollar development project at Bainbridge that will bring new revenue into the town over the course of 10 years, while also taking into consideration the concerns of the constituents, the town's history, and the environment?
Well, being on the planning commission, then that's a lot to do, and then, I don't know, I just can't answer that question.
Okay, well, thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, Randa Teely. For a brief intermission, we'll take a moment to gather all the candidates from the green room and get them back here into our forum. When we return, we'll have the audience Q&A section, so please finish writing your questions and place them in the basket located at the back of the room and hand them to one of our volunteers for the Q&A session. We encourage you to participate and ask thoughtful questions to all of the candidates. Please take this opportunity to stretch your legs and help yourself to the refreshments. We'll resume in about 10 minutes. Thank you.